40s, through a seam to the 45, to the 50, near sideline 40, horse race.
The Washington Commanders have successfully rebuilt themselves these past couple of years. From having a 4-13 record in 2023 to making the NFC Championship with a 12-5 record, the future is looking bright for Washington in these next upcoming years. With that being said, the Washington football team has an intriguing history that is synonymous with controversy, having American history play a pivotal role in the naming of the team. The history of the Washington team is about more than just a sports team. It's a story about identity, tradition, and change.
He's got Sanders in the clear at the 10. Touchdown, Washington!
In this mini documentary, we will be going through the history of the Washington football team, the importance of its name, and the controversy surrounding it. The story begins in 1932 at the heart of the Great Depression, before the Redskins or Commanders were even a thought. As a matter of fact, it starts in Boston with the name the Boston Braves. The team played in the same stadium as the Boston Braves baseball team. However, the team name didn't last, ending with a 4-4 win-loss record by the end of the 1932 season. This was before the NFL had merged, meaning that the championship winner was determined by the win-loss percentage. Just 1 year after the team's first season, the team's owner George Preston Marshall wanted to rebrand. So, the team went from the Boston Braves to the Boston Redskins. Marshall chose this name in honor of the team's head coach William Lone Star Dietz. Though Dietz's heritage has been debated, he became a central figure in Marshall's decision to change the mascot. The team's mascot had changed to a Native American chief with dark skin and black hair. In 1937, they had relocated to Washington, D.C., becoming the Washington Redskins. The team found great success in their first year, having an 8-3 win-loss record and winning 28-21 against the Chicago Bears. Funnily enough, 3 years later, the two teams played again for a rematch in the 1940 NFL Championship, in which the Chicago Bears won 73-0. Even to this day, Washington still holds the record for the biggest blowout in NFL history. For decades, the name Redskins was embraced by the team and its fans, being seen as a symbol of strength and unity. However, critics began to argue that the name carried a more offensive and painful meaning, being tied to the history of Native American mistreatment throughout American history. What was originally meant to be a tribute to the Native American culture would soon become one of the most controversial topics in sports history. The Washington Redskins entered their most dominant era in franchise history, becoming one of the NFL's top teams. Under legendary coach Joe Gibbs, Washington won 3 Super Bowls and consistently competed for championships. Players like John Riggins, Art Monk, Darrell Green, and Doug Williams cemented Washington as a powerhouse. Williams, in particular, made history in Super Bowl 22 as the first black quarterback to start and win a Super Bowl, a groundbreaking moment in NFL history. The team's success only deepened fan loyalty to the Redskins' name and brand. Despite its success, criticism of the Redskins' name and mascot began gaining momentum in the 1970s and 1980s. Inspired by the civil rights movement, Native American activists started speaking out against racial stereotypes in sports. The National Congress of American Indians and other groups argued that Redskins was a racial slur rooted in colonial violence against indigenous people. Protests against the name began at stadiums, but the movement remained relatively small due to the team's massive popularity. Jack Kent Cooke, the team's owner from 1974 to 1997, refused to acknowledge concerns about the name. In response to growing criticism, he dismissed the controversy, stating,
"There's not a single solitary jot, tittle, whit chance in the world that the Redskins will adopt a new nickname."
Fans overwhelmingly supported the team's stance, viewing the name as a source of pride and tradition rather than offense. As the Redskins celebrated their dominant Super Bowl victory in early 1992, a major legal challenge was on the horizon. Later that year, a group of Native American activists filed a lawsuit to revoke the team's trademark, arguing the name was offensive and should be legally removed. This lawsuit marked the beginning of a decades-long battle over the Redskins' name, one that would grow in intensity over the next 30 years. Native American activists led by Suzanne Chan Harjo filed a lawsuit against the team, arguing that Redskins was offensive and should lose its trademark protection. The case sparked wider national debate, bringing the issue into mainstream media. Protests at Washington games increased, especially on Thanksgiving and in Native majority cities. Schools and colleges began dropping Native mascots, adding pressure for professional teams to follow suit. However, team owner Jack Kent Cooke and later Dan Snyder refused to consider a change. Despite growing protests, the team held firm, citing fan support and polling that claimed most Native Americans were not offended. However, academic studies and indigenous activists argued otherwise, showing the mascot had negative effects on Native youth and was tied to a violent past. In 2014, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office canceled the Redskins trademark, ruling it derogatory to Native Americans. The team appealed, and the legal fight dragged on for years. Following the George Floyd protests in 2020, the racial justice movement gained momentum, extending into sports. Native American groups renewed their calls for change, but this time, corporate sponsors took action. FedEx threatened to pull stadium sponsorship if the name wasn't changed. Nike and Amazon removed Redskins merchandise from stores. Bank of America urged rebranding. Under immense financial pressure, Washington officially announced the retirement of the Redskins name on July 13, 2020. The team played 2 seasons without a mascot, simply calling itself the Washington Football Team. While meant to be temporary, some fans appreciated the modern, clean look. In February 2022, the team officially rebranded as the Washington Commanders. The name was meant to reflect leadership, unity, and Washington's military history. Reactions were mixed. Some fans embraced it while others found it generic. The rebranding marked one of the biggest shifts in sports history, setting a precedent for other teams. Some Native American groups saw it as a victory, but others felt it was just a symbolic move rather than a genuine effort to support indigenous communities. The story of Washington's NFL team is one of transformation and controversy. It is a franchise that did not evolve like the other 31 teams. It evolved with culture and history taken into account. Washington's football team history serves as a reminder that names may change, but legacies remain.